is the one who is Lord of the heavens. And the one who is Lord of the heavens is the one who is Lord of this earth. And the one who is Lord of the heavens and this earth is the one who is Lord of pastures far and narrow, is the one who is Lord of stars high up in the sky, is the one who is Lord of you and I. Gentlemen, we'll start our session today with some verses from this heavenly Lord. So may I please invite Mr. Ali Lasmi, Senior Manager Assurance in EY, to recite a few verses of this heavenly Lord.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يئوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. صدق الله العظيم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah, there is no God but He, the living, the self-subsisting. Neither slumber nor sleep can seize Him. Unto Him belongeth whatsoever is in the heavens and whatsoever is in the earth. Who is there can intercede in His presence Him, except He permits. He knoweth what appeareth to His creatures as before or after or behind them. Nor shall they compass aught of His knowledge except as He willeth. His throne doth extend over the heavens and earth, and He feeleth no fatigue in guarding and preserving them, for He is the Most High and Supreme. Sallallahu.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, gentlemen. I welcome you all to ICAP PSC Chapter's 3rd Saudi Park Accountancy Symposium in collaboration with SOCPA. This is a very special evening tonight since we have a star of successful leaders under this roof, on this floor with us, not only as speakers but as participants. They include chairmen, CEOs of banks and large companies, CFOs and senior managers of large corporates, partners and executives of Big Four accounting firms, leader of accounting institutes like SOCPA and ICAP. In short, a long list of the country's most influencing, successful, powerful, and well-revered financial and other leaders who are gathered here tonight evening to discuss the future of financial leadership and to blaze the trail for us as to how to be successful as leaders within our communities. So before I proceed, may I please request all of you to put your mobiles on vibration, and please do not respond to any call unless it is CEO of some big Fortune 500 company offering you a job, or some very big client offering you a huge contract, or if it is your wife, hands down. Okay, alright, the question is why topic financial leadership way forward. There's tons of material on Google with myriad of leadership theories, thousands of videos on YouTube, hundreds of speeches on TED.com, all available on internet. So what's so special about this symposium? Other than the reason of the fabulous and sumptuous food awaiting for us, and the splendidly extravagant and lavish settings of Ritz Carlton. I'd say it's the opportunity and chance to meet the leaders from our very own part of the world, both in the form of participants and speakers, who have not been there and done all, but who've been here and done all. It's a chance to interact with them, ask them questions, listening to their stories and how they dealt with problems and challenges in this very market where we operate, relate to each and every single word that they say, and most importantly, network with them. With that, gentlemen, I would invite Mr. Muhammad Iqbal, who is leading at various fronts as CFO of Alinma Bank, as Director of Alinma Investment Company, as part of Financial Controls Committee of KSA Banks and Zakat Taxation Committee of KSA Banks, and most importantly for tonight, as President of ICAP KSA Chapter. So may I please welcome Mr. Muhammad Iqbal to give a welcome address and set the foundation stone for today's symposium by defining what financial leadership is and how is it different from financial management. Mr. Muhammad Iqbal.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, but they are coming, so inshallah they will be joining us anytime. But and similarly, we have sold the full tickets, so some of the audience may be on the way, so it's going to be houseful inshallah. But without wasting your time, we are starting this program, and I would like to say thanks to the key guests as well as the audience. So it's my privilege to welcome you to the third Saudi Park Symposium. This is the third symposium, and I hope, like the past two events, this would be another success for the ICAP chapter and the SOFA. I would like to thank the Ambassador of Pakistan, Mr. Naeem Khan. He had committed, but unfortunately, because of his last-minute stopover in Jeddah, he is coming back tomorrow. So he has deputed Mr. Qayyam Akbar, the Deputy Ambassador, who will be joining us anytime. Sheikh H.E. Abdul Aziz Abdullah Zamil, the former Minister of Industry and Electricity and Chairman of Zamil Group, he is also going to join us around Maghrib. We are also thankful to Mr. Ahmed Al-Magamas, the Secretary General of SOFA, Mr. Naeem Sheikh, the President of ICAP, and the respectable speakers and the audience for taking your precious time out for this symposium. I would also like to thank SOFA and the Ambassador for their continued support and patronage in all our endeavors, and last but not the least, the sponsors who, like in the past, have showed their keen interest and generosity in funding this symposium. ICAP has a member footprint across the globe who serve as business partners for their organizations and are the brand ambassadors of ICAP. Like KSA chapter, ICAP has a UAE chapter, a Canada chapter, and the KSA, UAE, Canada, and England. These are the 4 chapters. And besides, there is a large population of the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants who are working in various organizations around the globe. Amongst the GCC, around 400 members are working in the kingdom alone. This just shows the trust and confidence which the employers in the region, and particularly in KSA, have reposed in the ability of the ICAP members to provide invaluable professional services. The ICAP KSA chapter has been created to provide a platform for sharing knowledge and provide networking opportunities not only to the ICAP members but also to the members of the local institute, which is Saudi Organization for Certified Public Accountants. The theme of this symposium is the financial leadership, the way forward. Financial leadership aims to provide a pathway and bring clarity of vision and approach to the leaders of the today as well as future. Financial leadership as opposed to financial management, which merely deals with the routine management functions such as reporting, MIS, etc., demands shared determination, desire to succeed, and sailing through hurdles and challenges. Financial leaders are success-oriented people, and they have ability to steer the organization from merely on paper to the echelons of the financial world. The entire symposium revolves around this theme, which is set to magnify it from various angles. Overall, the aim of this symposium is to bring together the accountancy profession from Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and other parts of the world under one umbrella to share knowledge, experience, and to educate and learn from learned participants and the audience through an interactive engagement process. I feel that this symposium will further cement the strong collaboration between ICAP KSA chapter and SOPA, provide the audience with an enriching learning experience, and will enable dissemination of knowledge that helps bring challenges of future while recognizing the present. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Iqbal. Our next financial leader tonight is someone whose tireless efforts has taken SOPA to new heights of recognition. So may I please request Dr. Ahmed Al-Malawis to share his thoughts on this topic. Dr. Ahmed Al-Malawis.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam wa rasulullah Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Since His Excellency the Ambassador is not here, but I will recognize since this event under his patronage, Mr. Muhammad Naeem Khan, the Pakistan Ambassador to KSA, أيضا معالي المهندس عبد العزيز الزامل، Dr. Muhammad Omar Chabra, and Dr. Abdurrahman Al-Humayyid, and Mr. Naeem Akhtar Sheikh, the President of ICAP, Mr. Muhammad Iqbal, the President of ICAP KSA chapter, my fellow speakers and my fellow members of SOPA and ICAP, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. At the outset, I am also very much thankful to the ICAP KSA chapter for inviting me, and much honored to be part of this nice gathering. And SOPA is pleased to support the chapter in organizing this symposium. ICAP KSA chapter has proven to be very successful forum managed by a dedicated team of Pakistan Chartered Accountants. I am quite happy that SOPA support has been there for the chapter since its inception in August 2011. And ICAP chapter in Saudi Arabia has been very active body in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I am very pleased to know that the CBT events done by ICAP chapter in Saudi Arabia are also attended by SOPA members in good numbers. I have also had the pleasure of meeting current and past presidents of ICAP and the KSA chapter to discuss ideas mutual profession matters. In fact, today only we had very useful meeting during which we discussed various matters of mutual benefits for our members of both bodies. SOPA and ICAP, since signing the Memorandum of Understanding, have supported each other in many areas. For example, the translation of 2 versions of ICAP audit manuals in Arabic by SOPA. Second, ICAP consultants for SOPA IFRS transition project. And also today we spoke about ICAP IFRS question and answer database for translation into Arabic can be used in Saudi Arabia for our transition period. Also, we discussed about how we can use the IFRS training materials being done by ICAP to be also used in Saudi Arabia after translations. Also, SOPA has supported ICAP Examination Center in Riyadh, and also SOPA and ICAP chapter in Saudi Arabia also been doing very good seminars in Riyadh and Khobar and Jeddah. Taking this partnership to a new level, SOPA and ICAP will jointly organize an international conference next year at Jeddah, which is expected to be more than 500 participants, including ministers, high dignitaries from both countries. To update you about the SOPA IFRS transition project, I am pleased to inform that SOPA has completed review of around 50% of IFRS and has discussed them with various stakeholders by holding roundtables meeting in Medina. It is very pleasing to note that apart from few additional disclosures, there are no other modifications in the reviewed set of standards. All the reviewed standards are uploaded on SOPA website as its model draft for public comments. I request all of you to take out some time and provide your comments. Further, we are also working with the IFRS Foundation, to come up with a new set of IFRS translation in Arabic. And for that, we also would like those who are bilingual finance experts to come forward and assist us. For concluding remarks, finally, I am very thankful for ICAP KSA chapter for nominating me for the award. It's indeed an honor for me to be beside great people like Dr. Muhammad Omar Shabab and Dr. Abdurrahman Al-Hamid and Mr. Tariq Jamil. We are very much value our relationship and friendship with ICAP and look forward to developing even closer ties as the profession around the world responds to the many challenges we face. May Allah make both ICAP and SOPA grow stronger from strength to strength. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. My next leader tonight is President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, Mr. Naeem Akhtar Sheikh. He is one of the youngest presidents of ICAP who has been serving the Institute in various roles over more than a decade, including Chartered Vice President, Chairman of Northern Regional Committee, and various other committees. So may I please request Mr. Naeem Akhtar Sheikh to step forward and share his thoughts on the topic. Mr. Naeem.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. Ahmed Al-Muhammad, Secretary General SOPA, Mr. Muhammad Iqbal, President, Chapter ICAP, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mr. Muhammad Umar Chapra, the keynote speaker of today's symposium, members of the Management Committee, members of ICAP and members of SOPA and members of other accountancy bodies, delegates, gentlemen, assalamu alaikum and very good evening. It's indeed a great privilege and honor for me to address this august gathering of accountants and to share you my real sentiments. I'm really delighted to see this symposium and I'm really impressed by the ability and initiative of my chapter in Saudi Arabia for arranging such an excellent symposium. The structure, the selection of topics, the selection of speakers, even the location of the symposium I think all are outstanding, and I think they deserve a great round of applause, Mr. Iqbal and all his team and the organizing committee, sir. And you know what is really pleasing is that we thought about creating these chapters across the world about 4 years back, because we had a lot of accountants now outside Pakistan. I think about 28 to 20% of the accountants of ICAP members are located all over the world, including Saudi Arabia, Middle East, Europe, Central America, Australia. And out of these 4 chapters which I was just telling you, I think the Saudi Arabian chapter, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia chapter, has actually outperformed all the rest of the chapter and have really set an example which we can showcase to the rest of our chapters. I'm really thankful to the role of SOCPA for supporting our global chapter, and especially my friend Ahmed has been a great sponsor and patron for us. And I thank you, sir, for all your support and encouragement. And I hope the Pakistan chapter will keep on playing its role in development of accountancy profession in this country. We have a very brotherly relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, both at the people level and also at the level of the governments. Like my brother has just told you, we are going to, inshallah, further cement the relationship and make it more strong even at the regulator level and also at the institutional level. Now, I'm really pleased the choice of the theme of this conference, the financial leadership, the way forward. There's a great debate going on right now across the world about the change in the role of accountants, CFOs, and this debate is emanating out of changes which has took place in the last 1 decade. From Enron to Facebook, to WhatsApp, to Twitter, to iCloud computing, to iPads, to smartphones. I think the way the world used to work has changed, and changed substantially. And accountants are no isolation. So it is affecting the accountancy profession also. And the International Federation of Accountants has recently published a paper which is available on their website. And I would strongly urge you please go to the website and download the paper and read it. The role and expectation of CFO. And that actually really focuses the debate on the key issues about these changing roles. And let me read some excerpts from that article, and I quote, "The past few decades have witnessed significant growth in the demands on and expectation of finance leaders, particularly as they have become central to helping their organization navigate an increasingly complex business world. In addition to being the financial gatekeeper, the CFO is also expected to participate in driving the organization toward achieving its objective. As a part of the leadership of the organization, CFO are expected to increase their support to strategic and operational decision making in a business partnering capacity, in addition to fulfilling the traditional stewardship responsibilities relating to governance, compliance and control, and business ethics. In forward-looking organization, the CFO and the F&A function are evolving from a transactional and cost efficiency focus to an increasingly value-adding strategic focus." Unquote. Now you see, these have implication for us as a regulator of accountancy and also the employers. And globally, we need to be conscious that what changes we need to bring in to meet these changes in expectation from CFO and from the financial leadership. In Pakistan, we have been very conscious of this fact. And these have implications both at the pre-qualification level and post-qualification level. So the way we produce chartered accountant needs to be looked into, and the way the chartered accountant is then updated when he joins the profession or the industry, that needs to be looked into. So let me briefly touch upon what we have done in Pakistan. We have brought a reform in our education system. We have updated our syllabus and brought it to the Western semester standard. For the first time in the history of Pakistan, we have developed study packs to support that study, and they have been developed from the best publishers in the world. We have also restructured the way you become a chartered accountant. And we have, there has been a problem of a low pass percentage. So there has been a lot of people who got stuck up in the process and they don't have any qualification to go to the market. So we have introduced 3 tiers in the qualification before you become a fully chartered accountant to cater to the market needs and also cater to the students who got stuck up in the system. Then we have introduced multi-subject assessment, 2 papers in the final stage, which are actually case study, scenario-based questions, where the ability of the student is tested in a real-time business scenario with multi-subject interactions and also his decision-making skill. Then we have also moved towards computer-based examination. And inshallah this September we are going to have our EFC, which is the first level in all computer-based examination. And we are going to increase the frequency and make them available in coming 1 or 2 years on monthly basis, and then eventually online at any time they can be accessed. Similarly, we are focusing on our training also. Training is a very integral part of chartered accountant qualification. Your council last week debated a new training regulation where we're trying to actually embed the competencies we required to achieve doing this training into his training regulation, and we're going to expose the draft to the membership for further comments. So, and also we are taking a conscious shift. In Pakistan, we used to have the majority of accountants coming through after 12 years of education. But now we are making a conscious shift towards the 60-year graduation program. And we have got an alliance with the top academia in Pakistan. We got 2 top universities of LUMS, which is the Law University of Management Sciences, and IBA Karachi as our SDAI, which we call Special Degree Awarding Institute. And we have extended that program. And we foresee in 20 years' time, all the chartered accountants will be coming through a graduate program. Then at post-qualification level, we are also looking at our CPD very consciously. We have structured our CPD. We are improving the quality of the programs. We have started a director training program to train the directors in the corporate sector. And that initiative we have taken across Pakistan, and that we have made with a tremendous response from the corporate sector, and the composition of class is mostly non-accountants. And that provides a lot of opportunity to our accountants who participate in that program to upgrade themselves and become part of the top management. We are also conscious that the accountants should move from CFO position to CEO position, and they should become leaders. And we are opening a route, and we have recently negotiated, and we're going to sign an MOU with the Law University of Management Sciences, where they're going to open their executive MBA program for the chartered accountant. And that program will be very helpful in producing the accountants for a future leadership role who want to go to the operational side. And that will also open the door for PhD program also. And the PhD program is part of that, basically, where accountants who wish to pursue, want to go to academia or want to pursue other lines can go into these lines. Similarly, we are opening up and we are initiating a digital library where we can give access to our members across the globe to the resources, to various resources available. So all these, we are also undertaking a best corporate report awards. And let me share with you the criteria that we use for Best Corporate Award already include integrated reporting standard, which is very new to the world and being implemented right now. So all these steps are towards and to meet the change in the role of an accountant and to meet the future of financial leadership. With these words, I would like to thank the organizing committee for creating this opportunity, and I wish you all a great symposium. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Naik. Now coming to the main course of the meeting, the keynote address on the topic financial leadership. So may I please request, for this purpose, a renowned economist, writer, scholar, professor, and a winner of numerous accolades, awards, and appreciation, Dr. Muhammad Chhabra, to deliver the keynote address on this topic.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil karim wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. I'm thankful to for inviting me to this august gathering to express my thoughts before them. It was actually very kind of me from all the way to take that to invite me. For the last couple of years, he started refusing all invitations, but because he came to my house to invite me, I did not have the courage to refuse. Well, the thing is, the Institute of Chartered Accountants has played a very important role in the accounting field in a number of countries, particularly in Pakistan. I had the honor of addressing the Institute a couple of times in their annual meetings, and I know the good work that they have been doing. The finance, of course, the topic today is financial leadership. Finance, of course, is a very important part of human life. There is a circular position in human life, and a number of things are involved in this. If one of the important parts of this circle is missing or does not operate properly, everyone suffers. And finance is one of the important parts of this circle. If the financial sector is diseased or does not operate properly, then the whole economy suffers. There is a recession, there is unemployment, and the government also has reduced revenues. It is not able to spend much to redress the economy, and a number of problems set in. So finance, of course, is extremely important, and it has to be set on a proper footing. This is one of the tasks of the accountants also. If the accountants operate properly, then the economy can go on. You see, because one of the important jobs of an accountant is to ensure justice. Justice between the shareholders, management, and the general public, consumers, and so on. If the accountants don't do the job honestly and properly, everyone is going to suffer, and ultimately the accountants also will suffer. So the role of accountants is extremely important in any economy. And the chartered accountants have a particularly important role because they are chartered. They are assigned to do this job in a proper way. So the leadership, financial leadership, the term in English for Khadim. It should be actually a person who serves the community in a very important way. So second group on Khadim, and the reverse also is true. Khadim al-Qawm, anyone who serves the nation of the group is their leader. So leadership implies, of course, khidmah, service, and he has to do a number of things, a very important role to play in human life. And one of these roles is to help solve problems. There are a number of problems, some of these we'll see later on, not all of them, of course. One of them is to help solve problems, to help realize the group's vision. Every group, whether it's a country or a company or an individual firm, all of them have a certain goal to realize, and it is one of the important jobs of the leader is to help realize these goals. Then to motivate all members to work for this purpose. If all members do not work honestly and sincerely for realizing the goals of the company or the country or any other group, the problem will not be solved. So to work for this purpose, he has to have a strong character. He has to maintain solidarity, and an accountant or a leader cannot maintain solidarity unless he has certain qualities. And one of those qualities is to help solve problems, to help realize the group's vision, to motivate all members to work for this purpose, to maintain solidarity, group solidarity, and fair and above board. He has to be fair and above board, and he has to try to maintain good relations among the group members. And this requires certainly a good character. A leader who is selfish, who does not care for the members of his group, cannot do the job properly. So a chief accountant in any group has to have an above-board character to be able to serve the company in a good way. Now I was talking about one of the tasks of a leader is to solve problems. What are the problems we face in the field of finance? That this cannot continue for long, so they stop or reduce lending and start withdrawing the loans. The people who borrowed are naturally forced to sell, and the economy starts going up. So it was going up and up and up because of excessive lending, and then starts going down and down because of withdrawal of this. This was the thesis of IMMC, and of course, to a great extent, it is true. There is excessive. We saw this in recent years in the stock and commodity markets. There was a great deal of lending, and the stock markets went up. The economy also was going up, and then there was a sudden decline. So this kind of a behavior on the part of banks, of course, they are looking for profit. The greater the profit, and the greater the remuneration of the chief executives. But now, of course, it is not necessary to have a high rate of profit, to have a high remuneration for the chief executive. It has been seen that even if the company makes loss, the chief executives raise their remuneration significantly. This has happened in the United States in certain companies. also one of the important problems of human societies. Experienced over the last couple of decades. What was the major cause of these crises? Naturally, excessive lending. This is something which has been pointed out by all scholars who have done some work on this subject. Excessive lending and subprime mortgage crisis in the United States. Now, you can see very well that sale of debt played a very important role in this crisis. Why? Because you give you give a loan to somebody, and then you sell the debt. You realize the resources. You give a debt again, sell it, and then so the resources keep on coming back, and there is a great deal of excessive lending in the economy. Now, one of the problems that arises here is when we try to sell a debt, people will be willing to buy a prime debt, but nobody would be willing to buy a subprime debt. So what do you do to sell a subprime debt? The trick played in this respect was to combine the two, the prime debt and the subprime debt. Securitization is what is called. There was securitization. You combine the two types of debt and securitize it. Divide them into small certificates and sell them in the market. Now, this is a very good way of selling debt, but the thing is that the purchaser then doesn't know really how much of it is prime and how much of it is subprime. So when ultimately it becomes clear to the purchasers that a substantial part of it was subprime, then they get scared. They want to sell the debt, and there is a spate of selling of debt which creates a substantial problem in the market. So securitization, while it was a very good idea essentially, but when any good idea is used in a wrong way, it creates problems for society. So securitization, you take a debt and then divide it into small portions and sell it. You realize resources and then you can give more debt. This is all right. I mean, it can help expand the economy. But if this is done for promoting credit unnecessarily, for purposes that are not helpful for the economy, then of course ultimately the economy is going to suffer. So the subprime debt securitization, the mixing of the prime and subprime debt, all this, Mr. Bernanke has stated this respect that far too much of the lending in recent years was neither responsible nor prudent. In addition, abusive, unfair practices led some borrowers into mortgages they would not have chosen knowingly. Now, this is not an ordinary person saying this. It's the chairman of the Federal Reserve of the United States making this point. All right, so what was the central bank doing when all this was going on? The ex-president of the Federal Reserve was a believer in liberalism, and he did not want to interfere in the process of the market. He said the market will take care of itself, and it did not. The result was a big crisis. So this is one of the ways in which excessive lending was promoted, and it created difficulties forward essentially is to find a solution which will prevent the repetition of such crises. And Islamic finance has an important solution for this. It is now, when I was a college student in the 1950s, everyone who talked of Islamic finance was considered to be crazy. I remember that was back in 1984 when we were having a conference in Islamabad. One of the bureaucrats I met in the elevator said, "Will you allow things to operate in this country or not?" In other words, risk-sharing finance comes, everything will come to a stop. Whereas now the whole world is realizing that risk-sharing is a very important element to be introduced in the financial system to prevent crisis. So something which is considered to be very bad or idiotic ultimately sometimes comes out to be a very important solution for problems of humanity. So risk sharing is important. Now why it is important? Because without risk sharing, you cannot control excessive lending. Naturally, you can see a bank can lend as much as it wants. And without reducing excessive lending, it is not possible to get rid of financial crisis. So there is a very close relationship with these different ways of operating the financials. So Islamic finance now is looked upon as a blessing. The United States, Harvard University has organized a number of forums on this. The London School of Economics has also organized forums. Lectures are being introduced, the subject is being introduced in many institutions around the world. So Islamic finance, which according to one of the bureaucrats whom I met in the elevator was a silly idea, is now becoming a very, very important and useful idea for getting rid of financial crises around the world. So no risk, no gain. This is the basic principle. If you want to gain, you have to take risk. If you don't want to take risk, then you will guarantee the safety of your money. So in other words, demand deposits where the depositor does not take any risk and does not want to take any risk. His money is assured. He will get back what he puts. But savings and investment deposits or other forms of investment will be sharing the risk, and if there is profit, they will get the share of the profit. If there is loss, they have to be prepared for profit. So this is one of the principles of Islamic finance: no risk, no gain. And this solves one of the problems in the financial system, which is excessive lending. The other problem is equitable distribution of credit. The financial system has become one of the worst problems in the increase in inequity around the world. Now, how this is the case? Because the credit generally goes to the rich. If you are able to provide collateral, you can get credit. If you cannot provide collateral, you cannot get credit. Because it is not possible to get rid of collateral. Collateral will be there even in Islamic finance. But the problem is that some ways we found If this is not done, the financial system will make the rich richer and the poor will remain where they are. So the problem of collateral, now the microfinance institutions that have been established on the world in Pakistan and Bangladesh, in India and other countries, are trying to get rid of this problem. How to be able to lend to poor people who cannot afford to give collection? Is there any way? I mean, one of the ways is collective responsibility, making a group of borrowers all together responsible for the repayment of loans. This is one of the ways. Many other ways of trying to get rid of this problem of collateral so that even poor people are able to get credit, and if this credit becomes available to a large number of people, then naturally, of course, the inequalities of income would tend to go down gradually. So this is one of the important things that needs to be introduced in the financial system. If you wish to remove poverty and unemployment and also bring about equitable distribution. Of course, Islamic finance has so far not been very highly successful in this. It has been trying. And a great deal of success has been attained. But it is on a much smaller scale compared with the whole financial system. This system has a very small shape. So if something we can do, remove the financial crisis which Islamic finance is trying to do by producing risk shaping, it will control excessive lending and bring reduce financial crisis as well as possible. The other problem is how to bring about greater equitable distribution of credit. If this can be done, then poverty will gradually decline in the economies to a great extent, and we will be able to resolve the problem of poverty. But Islamic finance has not succeeded much in this area. It is struggling hard, and inshallah we hope that with the passage of time, as experience is gained, and as people, the small entrepreneurs, are known well by these institutions, the problem will be solved.
Accountants for organising this important and influential event. Both ICAP and SOCPA continue to make valuable contributions to the accountancy profession and are important members of ICAP, supporting our mission and programs. ICAP has been instrumental in the development of the accountancy profession in Pakistan, and its chapters reflect collaboration on an international level. It has also been involved with ICAP committees, in particular the Professional Accountancy Organisation Development Committee. SOCPA is a key leader in the development of the accountancy profession in the regional decisions about an organisation, its resources and its future. The quality of that information will affect which financial reports are prepared, audited, disseminated and used, compiling, auditing and guidelines that fails or could be further improved in many organisations of the chain, including financial reporting standards, which provide for which the information is communicated throughout the chain, the external auditor, who provides an independent, including society at large, with the assurance that the information provided in the financial statements is reliable. Auditing standards, which are regulated, credit rating agencies, investment analysts, investors, and members of society. All of these components combine to deliver a high-quality outcome. But it's important in developing and producing high-quality financial reports. If we keep this in mind, we remain aware not only of our roles within the accountancy profession, but the profession's role as a component of a larger process, as well as the subsequent time-consuming and costly compliance efforts. However, that successful organisations have a governance structure and culture that go beyond conformance with regulations, supporting the organisation's efforts to improve its performance. In the financial reporting supply chain, supporting the achievement of an organisation's objectives and creating, enhancing and protecting shareholder value. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you today.
Alright, gentlemen, Mr. Ryan's not here with us, but I'm on the video right now, so Mr. Ryan, thanks a lot for recording this message for Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan KSA chapter. He was a vice chairman and CEO of SABIC from the day of its commencement, hence setting it up and bringing it on the track to success which SABIC enjoys today. It was for these reasons that he was awarded King Abdul Aziz Medal, and it is for these reasons he is called the Knight GHD of Industrial Development. So please give a big round of applause to the chairman of Zaman Group, His Excellency Engineer Abdul Aziz bin Abdullah Razan. Alright, to ensure that we ask His Excellency the questions that audience would have wanted to ask, I would now request our colleague, Mr. Umar Musa, who is a Group Reporting Manager, to take the podium for me and ask some questions which we would have wanted to ask him. Mr. Umar Musa.
Presidents of ICAP and SOCA, and distinguished professionals, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. I am grateful to be entrusted with the privilege of conducting this interview of His Excellency Engineer Abdul Aziz bin Abdullah Al-Zami at this August gathering. Very recently, I got the chance to go through the detailed profile of His Excellency, and believe you me, what an impression did it make. It was a wonderful learning opportunity for me in person to know the tale of the Knight of Industrial Development firsthand. Thank you so much, sir, for attending this event, and we are certainly privileged to have you amongst ourselves. Just to start with the session, I would like to pose some questions to you, to which we will be very grateful as and when the progress of the questions you may answer. First up, I would like to request you to share your views about the ICAP KSC chapter, its activities, and this particular symposium you graced us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much for this question. I would like to, first of all, thank you very much for this kind invitation to share with such distinguished gathering some thoughts on the development in Saudi Arabia, and also to recognize the very high importance of this organization and its members. This organization has played a very crucial role over the years in the development of Saudi Arabia, and I'd like to extend my sincere appreciation for the professional work that our colleagues with this organization has rendered to the Saudi development. Saudi Arabia enjoy one of the highest standards in transparency and accountancy, and the credit for that goes to individuals like yourself, who have
really implemented a very high degree of professionalism. So I'm very honored and pleased to be in the presence of such distinguished gathering. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You've been very kind with your words. Sir, delivering on one of the programs which you have had, and I had the privilege of going through, you were the Minister of Industry and Electricity for 12 years. What do you think were the key challenges you faced and the achievements recorded by the sector?
As I was sharing with our senior advisor, who had a tremendous role to play in the development of the Saudi economy, and we're talking about the time of the development of Saudi Arabia. I was appointed as Minister of Industry and Electricity in 1983 after serving as the CEO and Vice Chairman of SABIC for 9 years. And for us at that time, the most important thing was to really lay the groundwork for industry and for electricity. As you know, developing industry in an open economy is not an easy task, because our role was simply to lay down policies and provide the infrastructure and the incentives. But the real projects are done by investors themselves and they choose the projects. But that was actually the correct policy. And our role in the ministry at that time was to really concentrate on providing the infrastructure, namely the industrial cities, provide for the incentives, like finance, which was provided by the Fund for Industrial Development, which was founded by the Ministry of Finance, and had board membership from various organizations, including the Ministry of Industry. Also laying down the groundwork on providing various export incentives and so forth. And then trying to present to the investors the various opportunities, and the investors themselves were choosing the opportunities. The other major challenge we had was with electricity. As you know, with Saudi Arabia, such wide spread areas, it was a big challenge to try to reach all these customers all over the kingdom, and that was a real challenge to provide for the electrification of the kingdom. And we have been successful, first of all, to unify 52 utility companies into 4 utility companies, and then try to provide the service through generation and distribution to more than 3 million customers. I think that laid down the groundwork where we now see electricity as being one of the most important utility that's serving the economy. And I want you to have this thought in your mind every time you check with any country development. Always check the infrastructure. If the infrastructure is sufficient and good, you will have development. If the infrastructure is insufficient and not trustworthy, development will be impaired. This is why you have to have reliable systems. For example, in power. If you don't have reliable power, your plants will not be working, your base...
You and the Vice Chairman of SABIC, can you please share with us the experience in setting up a giant from scratch?
As you all know, and now it's quite well known that Saudi Arabia has become a world producer of petrochemicals. SABIC was established in 1976, when there was reorganization of the government structure. At that time, Saudi Arabia was thinking of developing some petrochemical and fertilizer industry, utilizing the gas that used to be flared. At the beginning, the responsibility was given to the Ministry of Petroleum, and when there was a reorganization and the Ministry of Industry was established, it was decided that responsibility will be shifted to the ministry. For the ministry to achieve such a objective, it was decided at that time to establish SABIC as being a wholly owned government organization owned by the government, with the objective stated in its charter to sell as much as 75% to the public. And this was done where 30% of SABIC was sold to the public. But the rest was not sold, and I think the reason was that the Minister of Finance, after seeing the profits made by SABIC, he thought he better keep it to himself. So now still 70% is owned by the government. SABIC was founded to utilize that flared gas that many of you perhaps have seen during this, and not as government projects. That means they have to justify their viability. Their IRR has to be acceptable in order to pay the owners a fair share of dividend and also to pay the banks for their loans.
We have video out. No.
So immediately we recognized that in order to realize these projects, we needed 6 important elements. We needed finance, we needed the feedstock, we needed the infrastructure, we needed the know-how, we needed the managerial skill, and we needed the marketing. On the Saudi side, we had 3 of those elements, and we lacked the other 3. And that's why we decided at that time that the only way that we're going to implement these projects is through a joint venture approach. And this could value in excess of 300 billion Saudi riyal and has already paid more than 13 times dividends of the equity that the government did. That was only monetary value, but the most important contribution was to be able to develop such a very highly skilled Saudi manpower, exceeding 43,000 people who are being highly trained and educated and can be a wealth to the nation in any area that can work. And I still remember many of you have been working with us in those projects, and some of you still working with us in those projects, and I'd like to thank you again for your contribution to that success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That has been a really insightful experience which you shared with us for particularly SABIC. Sir, over a number of SABIC, what I got to know from your profile, your all-round star-studded profile, is that you're chairman of various companies in different operating sectors. How do you juggle taking the different roles which you have from SABIC, which is purely an industrial setup, to that of a bank in Ireland? We would be glad if you can share your point of view on this particular aspect. Exactly. The various projects from your previous engagement with SABIC, the current operating company Nizam Group has in the industrial sector, and also looking after Al-Inma Bank, the financial sector. So how do you juggle the different operating sectors?
Well, actually, after serving at 3 terms for 12 years as a minister, and then I rejoined the family business. And then I continued, of course, developing the industrial sector, especially the petrochemical area, where the Nizam Group developed the Saudi International Petrochemical Company, Symposium, and the Sahara Petrochemical Company. And those were developed by the private sector. And those were examples that were taken by the government. A decision was taken by the government in 1993 to give the private sector a role in the development of the petrochemical industry, not only the government, and to encourage. And that is by giving private sector an access to the feedstock that was before that only specified for SAFIC. And when that happened, we have seen the growth of many companies. At the moment, we have almost 9 petrochemical companies in the private sector. So those are very active and robust companies. I'm leading 2 of them, Sahara and Symposium. And to be honest, I saw that when working in industry, we have been working very, very hard to make money and to have a good return. But when I sit down with our CFOs and our financial advisors, I see that the financial charges and the banks were making as much money or more than we do in this. So I decided probably we are in the wrong profession. Why don't we go to banking and finance? So when the Minister of Finance asked me to present the government and the Anima Bank to look after the government share of the Anima Bank, to share that bank, I accepted, and so I was happy to be the first chairman of the Anima Bank, which is now
between the sectors, the industry sector as well as the financial sector which you are presiding at the moment. Towards the end, I would just want to know 2 things. One, a message to the audience, but prior to that, on a personal note, I would just want to know how do you juggle so many different sectors and managing such a healthy family life, which I got the privilege to read through your profile. How do you balance a family life and then you wish to conclude with a message to the audience?
As you know, I'm chairing those organizations, and it is important to recognize the role of chairman and the role of CEO. As chairman, you really must try to resist the temptation to go into different details and to try to go into day-to-day businesses, which is the role of the CEO. And I think having that principle always in your mind helps you to somehow keep very clear profile, not to interfere with the CEO and the management in their day-to-day thing, and just make sure that you are setting the policies and following those policies. I think if that is done, you will be able to achieve that. It is.
So much, sir. Lastly, for the benefit of the audience, some of us young, some of those who are in the middle level of the management, if you could just pass a message to the audience, I'm sure that would be awe-inspiring. It would help us embark on building our own success stories. We would love to have your message to the audience, and with that, I would like to please your message to the audience.
Finally, I really like to thank you for being with you. And my last message, I think whether it is the development or the current development of Saudi Arabia or developing the company, the most important thing, as I think you all know and recognize, really is the principle of honesty, the principle of transparency in dealing with people, principle of fairness, and also having a very clear objective and objectives that are reasonable and achievable, and making sure that what you do is a teamwork where you really incentivize everyone to work together for the common goal. I've always realized that if the leadership, whether in the country or a company or an organization, sticks to those principles in terms of honesty, in terms of being fair, in terms of having the dedication of service, and with teamwork, you will achieve those objectives. And all those principles are really ingrained, as you know, in our own religion. Our religion teaches that you have to to follow those principles in order to succeed in life and to achieve your objectives. And I believe that this is something that helped us and helped me personally in my career. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, His Excellency. The voice from the heart of 200 chartered accountants sitting in this room really means a lot. The words of appreciation coming from you, His Excellency. Alright, our next session tonight is technical session. IFRS transformation agenda for Saudi corporates. Quick question: do you need to be in the management only to act as a financial leader? Answer is no. You can lead in many other ways, and one of these ways is leading the IFRS conversion process, which is like impending forward on our heads today. And many of us will need to step forward in our organizations to lead the process. Though the experience most of us have as Pakistan chartered accountants, we have used IFRS in Pakistan, but still there are a lot of questions that we need to ask ourselves today. That how do we lead the process of conversion? Which areas do we need to be focused? What were the challenges of conversion? How the finance system architecture, ERP, and other architectures be tailored? To answer all these questions, may I please invite another distinguished leader amongst us tonight, Mr. Gavin Steve, who is a partner and head of accounting advisory service in PwC, and most importantly, IFRS conversion leader for Middle East. Mr. Gavin Steve.
I'll pick up on the theme that we just closed on, in the interest of honesty and transparency. This is scheduled for 20 minutes. I'm supposed to get on a flight at 9:30, so I may be a little quicker than the 20 minutes. I also will start off with a quick apology. I was asked to provide my speech, and I provided my slides instead. And unfortunately, I probably doubled the printing costs for this event as a result. Anyhow, this has been described as a technical session just now, which hopefully some of you will breathe a sigh of relief that on a Thursday night, I'm not going to spend the next 20 minutes talking about accounting. What I am going to talk about is conversion and what it means to you. I'll just give you a quick synopsis of who I am and what my group does. I'm part of the Capital Markets and Accounting Advisory Services within PwC. That group was formed a number of years ago, and you might ask, well, why is Capital Markets combined together within PwC with Accounting Advisory? The group was originally pulled together to help companies list in New York, in the USA. That was some 20 years ago, when you used to have US GAAP numbers. So a big element of what we did for foreign companies was actually converting them to US GAAP. So the IFRS and conversion expertise from one framework to another sits within the group, within PwC. So that's why I've been asked to look after IFRS conversion in Saudi. I've been based in the Middle East now for some 18 years, but spent 3 years working in the Netherlands during sort of 2004, 2005, wave of adoption of IFRS across Europe, working principally with some of the biggest entities in US schools. IFRS, they've been around for a while, under one name or another. Originally out there as the IAS, International Accounting Standards, but changed the name around 2003, I think it was, to IFRS. Prior to that, there was a number of standards, and I think they got up to standard 41, IAS 41. The major one being IAS 39, and that was a major game changer for them, because it really brought IFRS up to rises. And a lot of people get confused with this. International Accounting Standards, International Financial Reporting Standards. IFRIT, which are interpretations, and SIT, which are also interpretations. So they're all done combined as IFRS, as a framework. As I say, it's being adopted, and SOCPA as an act, they move with the times, and Saudi is moving with the times, and you're now expected to adopt IFRS 2017 if you're a listed entity, and non-listed entities 2018. It sounds a long way off. As I say, if you look at this map or time frame, you'll see that IFRS has been slowly or quite, I suppose, quite rapidly adopted around the world with, as I say, over 140 countries now having adopted one form or another. You go back to 2003, there was only about 19 countries using IFRS. So it's been quite a rapid build-up. Why do we want such a set of standards? We are all working in a global economy. We're all benchmarking ourselves against our competitors, who are increasingly not the man next door, but the man on the other side of the world. How do our financials compare? How transparent are they? It all pulls together in a set of common standards that are the IFRS. Why would you want to do it? Well, it improves your investor confidence, provides access to a better investment base. If you are looking for finance, often if you're looking for substantial sources of finance, they will look for IFRS numbers. And if you're producing anything other than IFRS, they possibly might ask you for a reconciliation to IFRS. It's the default. It's where you go. It provides you better access to funds. A bigger pool of funds means it's usually cheaper funds. Gives your investors more confidence in what they're investing in. The regulators find it better. It's a framework that they can refer to, they can compare to what other countries do. There's a lot of information out there in terms of benchmarks. And then from a personal side of things, you can see the workforce actually benefits. I'd say when you go in there, you're actually training them on a set of internationally recognised financial standards. They get more out of it. It's improving their skills. And they can see them. So it also gives you opportunities to standardise. One of the key themes of adopting IFRS across the business is that you have to adopt the policies consistently. So when you're looking at group consolidation, was simply an aggregation of everything that they have. So they would add a golden gap to US gap, to UK gap, to Japanese gap, whatever it was. You add it all together, and lo and behold, you had a set of consolidated numbers, which were meaningless, because you had to have multiple policies in there, and didn't really know what was going on. And I should show our accounts across the group. Take greater benefit from smoothing out some of the processes that maybe exist. Consolidation, you should be able to improve that. Take out costs and improve the efficiency of the business. It provides a lot of benefits in a lot more other ways than just saying, well, I think I'm now an IFRS reporter. I mentioned earlier that people are sitting there saying, well, that's a long way away, 2018. Unfortunately, what the standards require is comparative numbers. Yeah? On the 1st of January 2016, you will need an IFRS compliant balance sheet. Now, for some of you, that might not mean much in terms of effort, but for a lot of you, it probably will. One of the things that you'll also need is all of the comparative data for for all the disclosures that are in the notes of the financials. Getting all of that information and making sure it's available so you can actually populate your notes, your financial statements in the right way. It can be quite problematic if you leave it until after the event. Figuring out what you're going to need to do to address it, whether it's systems, changes in processes, capturing the data, resources, your workforce, your people. What do they need to do? What do they need to learn? How are you going to get them prepared so that when you are live, you can run with it seamlessly? Don't wait until 2017. So I would say plan immediately, as it says at the bottom. And this slide says it all. I often get asked, what is the price of a conversion? I've worked on conversions, the varying costs from, and then some of you will fall off your seat, from $30,000 to one that worked on in Europe was 55 million euros. So it's a vast range. All that really is expressing is that every conversion is different, because each one of you work in a company that's different. None of you will be the same. You'll have different starting points, different people aspects, different activities, a different structure, reporting processes, everything will be different. But underneath it all, the process can be broken down into planning it, figuring out what the different